In this week's show, we're discussing the future of Halo's looking unreal, Nintendo announcing alarming and timely new hardware, and does metaphor ReFantazio get in the Game of the Year conversation? All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game stories and news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/@GamerGuildTV and up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. Your podcast players for this week are a hungover Mr. Chris.
Yeah, your podcast players for this week are hungover.
Hungover, yes, we are
Very
hungover.
Oh, yeah, apologies for the... probably the sound of our voices on this week's show, everyone. But yeah, we went out for a few drinks last night, and maybe we had more than we realised, because you said that we both stumbled on home worse than we probably realised that we were. I think it's that fresh air hit that really drives home the alcohol. But yeah, we are what we are.
We are. We're getting old and we're not used to it anymore.
It does get harder, apparently. I'm sure lots of our audience out there realise it. But yeah, you don't. It hits home a lot harder. But thankfully, there's plenty of video game news to. I was going to say sober us up, but I'd like to think I'm at that stage.
Yeah, I'm sober. I just wish I wasn't at work.
Yeah. Did you get my pun in the intro? By the way,
I did.
I like that. Alarming news. I always try and do that with the intros, and then it's does anyone even care?
Yeah, we do. I care.
We do. I care. Oh, that's good. At least one person. Hi, everyone.
Hi. How are you, everyone?
I'm good.
At home? Let us know in the comments.
Are you hungover this Monday morning? Yeah. I'd be very worried if it was...
I don't know.
People.
Some people might have took the Monday off and went out drinking on Sunday.
That's true.
Yeah. Someone might be drinking while they're listening to this podcast.
Someone might be shit-faced while they're listening to this podcast.
Exactly.
And we appreciate you listening all the same.
We do. And we do actually have a great show lined up for you as well this week, where we'll be talking about video game news. But before we get into it... make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're kept in the loop of all fantastic content here at GamerGuildTV, where we've been currently playing through Gears. Gears. Well, just 2 Gears. We're on the second Gears.
I'm looking forward to the point when we get through them, I think. With like this week's news that we'll get into around Halo, it's like I'm enjoying the pace, I think, that we are going through these. I think by the time Gears E-Day gets here, and by the time the next Halo game gets here, we'll be like steadily through them all, I think, or at least close to the point where maybe we'll push on to get everything in time nicely wrapped up, and then people can look back and see like a whole 5-year journey towards the current Gears and Halo titles.
It would be nice actually to catch up with the Gears and Halo games by the time the new ones drop.
Yeah.
But what else have you been playing other than Gears, Chris?
Well, I went back to Time Splitters, Future Perfect. Now it's got trophies, so my brother came around through the week and we had some pizza and we had some drinks and we basically chipped away at the absolute legendary classic that is Time Splitters Future Perfect, which is the 3rd entry in the series. I had played a little bit of 1, I dabbled in a little bit of 2, but I think for us, 3 is the ultimate package with everything.
It's the one year I have the most nostalgia for.
Yeah, it's got the best story. It's obviously the most modern, so it actually really holds up well. I was saying to my brother, like, it's actually shocking how blown out to like a massive 55-inch screen. It scales up really, really well. Like, they've done a good job on it. The trophy support's really fun, but it's just that video game. I was saying to some friends around, it's got like 100+ characters to unlock, and you unlock them by, you finish the story on easy, you unlock some, you finish the story on normal, you unlock some more, you do some arcade, it's got arcade modes, it's got challenges, it's got the most random challenges, Richie. Like, there's one where you're running around a house, and it's like a death match where you've got to get the most kills. However, every 20 seconds, a klaxon goes off, and a ton of ninja monkeys show up and throw banana grenades at you. And then they disappear, and then they come back, and it causes absolute chaos in what would normally just be a normal death match. it's like you start panicking and running away from monkeys, and it's so funny. And then one of the last challenges is monkey curling, where you actually throw the monkeys across it's essentially a map from one of the campaign levels. You're on like a frozen lake, but instead of doing like a mission, you are literally curling monkeys with a power gauge and a directional gauge into a circle, and you get points for it. And yet to get like the gold trophy, you've got to get a certain score, and everything you do in those challenges unlocks more characters to play as. It's great. It's great, and the variety is so, like, you can tell it's the old Rare people who are like of GoldenEye era, because they just have that like passion and the comedy, and it's so like early 2000s comedy as well. So many innuendos and stuff. Like there's an old man, I think he's in the army in level 2, and he's like, "Oh, look at my weapon." And yes, it's going to go off, and it's proper. It is just like such like childish humor, and it's so fun. Like if you've never played Time Splitters, if you play with siblings, or you just want a really short, fun, classic campaign, and it plays like GoldenEye. I've said before, like the sound effects and the gameplay.
They've used the same sound library.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, and that's my 145th platinum now.
Oh, wow.
So I'm on my way to 150. But yeah, I highly recommend if you've never played Time Splitters, but you like GoldenEye or just like fun first-person shooters, and the art style. So it's just, yeah, it's good all around, absolute fun, and I had a great time with it.
It sounds like some gameplay choices there that just don't happen now, like arcade mode. When's the last time you played a game that had an arcade mode?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can play the game, but now you can play the game as if you're in an arcade, and you can get the highest score as well as playing the game.
Yeah, and they are so creative with it. I know I said about the monkey one, but there's like the level in the campaign which takes place in a haunted mansion. In the challenge mode, it's a bunch of cow carcasses that appear in the kitchen.
Obviously,
and you're the butcher, and you have to kill so many of them, and they absolutely swarm you. With they've got no arms, they've got no head. It's just the carcass of a cow, and there's tons of them on the screen, and you're trying to shoot them and like put them down properly before the time runs out. And it's like that's just like a random challenge. Some devs thought up and thought, this will be funny. We've got the character model for the dead cow from the campaign. We've got the assets to build the room. Let's just work in some kind of challenge and point system, and then boom, that's something extra for free. I didn't buy a season pass. I didn't wait and didn't pay for any DLC content. I unlocked it through just playing and enjoying the game, and it was refreshing.
It sounds like the sort of thing that a developer was probably just working on to test something out, and then everyone like Rare was like, "This is actually really fun. Let's just put it in the game as a mode."
Yeah, it does, and it's like definitely got like you'd have a blast with it. Like it would remind you so much of like classic shooters, and just the comedy is it's Rare through and through. You'll see that if you play like Sea of Thieves now, you'll see that kind of like just witty, childish, funny comedy stuff throughout, and can't recommend it enough.
I might have to check it out because I've never played any of them.
You'd really enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's time to split.
It is. As for me, it's just been Echoes of Wisdom. That game is amazing. It just,
how many hours in are we now?
Oh, I don't even know, to be honest. See, the advantage of the Switch is the battery life is terrible, so it means that you have to stop playing.
You could dock it.
I could, but I'm not playing here. I don't have a dock at my girlfriend's.
Oh dear.
And plus, she's playing Avatar on the TV, so I'm sat on the couch with my Switch.
Ooh, is that the Ubisoft Avatar? I presume it's not the 2009 version.
Yeah, the Ubisoft one.
That's one of the few games that I think it was just like a moment in time. Like I've got it, I started it, I did the first look on the channel, and I just had no urge to go back to it, and it just sat on my shelf waiting. I do think when the next movie comes out, like my interest will peak up again, and I'll be like, oh, I've got a like 30-hour open world Ubisoft game here that didn't review terribly. Again, classic Ubisoft, isn't it? It's like it's just a good game. It's not great. It's not going to blow anyone away. It's a good game. It
looks stunning.
Yeah, the visuals are beautiful.
Gameplay seems decent enough if you kind of like the first-person Far Cry kind of thing with a bit of a Pandora twist on it. Narratively, it seems just completely lacking, really, to be honest. It just seems like there's no
point to it.
Yeah. There's no... Yeah. The only real thing is, you're trying to liberate Pandora. That's kind of it. And there's no real narrative through line through it. You just go to the bases.
It's like the movies, isn't it? Like, scratch the surface, and the movies aren't really that deep. It's like, go to planet, kill the natives, take the resources, and then the sequel is we're still on the planet and they're going to kill some other natives.
Yeah.
Because reasons. And it's like, that's about it.
But yeah, it's like, but the gameplay loop is largely just go to the base, clear everything out. There you go. And the side quests are largely literally just the collectibles as well.
Yeah, and
so
we wonder why Ubisoft returned to Far Cry and Assassin's Creed as like their known quantities of like this will print us money. Let's just make more of this stuff.
Yeah,
you had Avatar and Star Wars, and somehow slipped up on both.
Mm-hmm. Like it could be a good game. There, what it just needs is a compelling story to get you invested in the world.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it'll probably, the good thing with IP games is they generally probably pick up around the time the movies come out, and I know it's got seasonal content. I want to say is about should be dropping imminently.
It's Ubisoft. There will be.
They had a roadmap for it, and obviously it makes sense having the roadmap. If there are new movies coming out for the next couple of years, you could keep this alive in like a respectful way, but who knows?
Who knows? But you know what I know, Chris? It's time for you to introduce us to the
graciously gathered Gamer Guild Gazette, a.k.a. The News!
The News! And as always, the news is brought to you by our Guild Heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on the YouTube channel. Thank you all for your support. Really, really appreciate it. And we do actually have a storefront where you can get this sexy blue hoodie.
Ooh. And there's a sale this week as well. Starts on the 17th. So we warned you last week not to buy anything, which is very counterproductive towards merchandise sales.
How to run a business. Tell your audience not to buy things.
Do not buy from us. But if you do wait until the 17th through until the 22nd, you've got a couple of days there with 20% off everything in the store. So Richie's hoodie, my hoodie, hats, caps, flaps, everything.
Well, you can't actually have mine. I'm keeping it, but you can have one like it.
Yes.
This one,
unless they want
to me.
Unless they want to ballpark an offer to you in the comments.
Oh yeah, I mean, if the number's high enough,
it's got that Richie essence on it. I'll pay extra for that.
Yeah, if the number's high enough, but we'd have to be talking quite a lot of money because I like it.
Name your price, chat.
Yeah, start bidding war in the comments to buy my hoodie. Breaking news: just after we finished recording, Game Freak got hacked, and we have. The information came out of it was a bit too tasty to leave for another week, so I'm going to be inserting this somewhere in the podcast. So
we did a
Chris,
pick me up.
Yeah,
I'm no longer hungover. I'm no longer hungover. It's a miracle.
I'm not hungover yet, and we've changed clothes. Actually, you're wearing the same hoodie.
I think I made a point of wearing the same one, but
I'm in a different. My blue hoodie's at my girlfriend's house, so I couldn't. The choice wasn't there.
No, I feel so much better though. Today.
Oh yeah, me too. So I'm less hungover now, but further in the podcast, we'll resume hungover content.
Our usual shit states. But Pokemon news. We couldn't not get it in. Game Freak, unfortunately, being hacked, obviously shitty practices and stuff. But as we do cover game news, this is probably going to be the biggest story come Monday when everyone wakes up stateside and covers this and more information comes out. But as an overarching view, we've got it's one of them typical hack leaks where they have like file information and stuff. Yeah. You'll probably see more of it, similar to the Insomniac ones, throughout the course of the days ahead as they, I guess, hold the information hostage to Nintendo and Game Freak and go like, oh, you've got to give us it, otherwise we'll charge you. But in a bullet point nutshell, we've got the rumours or leaks, I guess, hacks that there's apparently a Pokemon MMO under consideration based on one of the file names. There is a battle-focused multiplayer, which is being co-developed with Game Freak and ILCA, which has been in the works. It's going to be like a Splatoon. That's called codenamed Synapse. And then we've got the report of Gen 10, which has been referred to as Gaia, which we knew was always coming anyway. They showed a short trailer a couple months back. The name for the Switch 2 is apparently codenamed Ounce, which it's a code name, so it doesn't really mean much. We've got two versions coming out of beta builds, and source code has been leaked for Pokemon Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, and also a Black 2 and a Black White, amongst kind of other details that we'll probably know more on in the future. Are
they the originals? Because Heart Gold and Soul Silver actually are a remake, but Black and White haven't been remade.
I defer to your expertise in the Pokemon world because I did the originals and then I never got a Game Boy Advance. So this is the generation that kind of like I started to just not pay attention to it and watch the anime series instead.
Yeah, Heart Gold and Soul Silver were DS, so was Black and White.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. So do you think it's going to be like a compilation of them all, perhaps?
I don't know. If it's just a source code, they might have just went, this is quite... Because these games are heavily emulated anyway. This might just be a case of the hackers kind of putting something out there that Nintendo probably don't care too much about at this point. But in a way to go, yeah, we've got these, so what else do you think we have? Because they might have the source code for the new Pokemon that comes out next year, which is the name I can't remember. But
is it X and not X and Y?
No, it's something like it's a Legends game, it's Alpha Z or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Alpha Z, Alpha Y.
Yeah,
maybe, perhaps
it's something like that. Yeah.
Is it potentially a Let's Go entry? Because I know we had obviously the originals made into a Let's Go game. I think there's been enough time has passed to get the next Let's Go entry between Diamond and Pearl. We had that too.
I think if they've got multiple projects in work, a Let's Go Gold and Silver would make sense. Because that would be the next obvious thing. So Let's Go was a reimagining of Gen 1, so let's reimagine Gen 2. But the source code, I think, is literally just the games that you can kind of buy. But it's old hardware, but these games are already published.
Yeah, that's the thing with leaks and hacks like this, is it's all just files that are kept presumably on the developers' servers, and it could just be old material that's left around in and amongst everything else, because someone at some point might need a file to refer back to or to check in on or to pull information from. So no surprise there. With
this, I think what they've done, it seems the hackers have done, is they've got a collection of different stuff about the Switch 2, they've got some stuff about old game source code, some new projects in development, and dropped a few nuggets to kind of go to Game Freak and Nintendo. Look of the sort of content we have.
Yeah, it's like proof, isn't it?
Yeah, it's proof we have your shit, basically, and going, yeah, here's some stuff that you probably don't care, because the MMO, it actually just says MMO-test.
Yeah.
So that could that could be 10 years old. Like,
yeah, it's just a file set. There's some other websites that show like the multiplayer battle focus, and like you said, it's just item list.text, kaiwa.text, list.text, and it's like it is all pretty much behind the scenes, like mundane development shit.
Yeah.
But again, it's if that's just them proving that they have it, and all it takes is someone, I guess, to work at Game Freak to go, yeah, that's our stuff.
That is legitimate stuff. These guys are real. We need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, like, we never negotiate with terrorists kind of vibe of, like, Insomniac didn't bow to the pressure, even though Wolverine and stuff and their entire roadmap for the next decade got leaked. I mean, it's like, you're not going to pay, like, I mean, in a weird way, Nintendo probably paying hush money of, like, whatever they ask for is probably
but I think sometimes
not impossible, but, yeah, you don't want it.
When you pay hush money to this group, then that just sends a signal to other groups that if they hack Nintendo, you get hush money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the better move for Nintendo is to kind of go out and go, fuck it, it's out there. Nintendo are very litigious when it comes to piracy anyway, so anyone getting the source code in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or Black and White, you're running a risk there anyway.
Yeah, they'll already be tracking you down with the Super Nintendo ninjas. Even
when people have made their own from ground up Pokemon games based on other games, Nintendo have sued them to oblivion, so I don't think Nintendo's attitude is going to change just because the source code's leaked. For the stuff like the MMO tests, I don't think it'd be that hard for them to go, yeah, there's one in development, or yes, we were looking at this years ago and we decided not to go ahead.
Yeah.
And just come out with it anyway. The Switch thing going, Switch 2, it's basically like an open secret that they're working on a Switch 2. And it's been codenamed Out tells you literally nothing.
Yeah, it's again whether we see more in the days to come, potentially. Once Reddit gets hold of the files and stuff, and they're kind of just out there openly. Yeah. But it is one of them things that it's nothing really that we didn't know, because I mean, obviously some bits we might not know, but you know what I mean. Like, obviously they're working on a new Pokemon game. Obviously Gen 10 is going to be in the works. Yes, it's going to be for the Switch. the Switch 2. Seemingly this one is apparently in the works for the current Switch and the Switch 2, so it does seem like it might be like a launch window title for the new console.
It makes
sense. Which again, without an entry this year, it's been the first time in a long time they haven't had a Pokemon dropping around Christmas, right?
Yeah, but I think Nintendo and Game Freak need to understand now, because games are taking longer to build, and the last game, Scarlet and Violet, were a broken mess when they came out, and you can look to the Switch's hardware for that, but Tears of the Kingdom played fine. Yeah. I'm currently playing Echoes of Wisdom, that plays fine. There's ways you can get that working, and the game, or maybe the game was overly ambitious for the hardware, whatever the reasons are. More time between mainline Pokemon entries is probably smart. But this is why you can use the Let's Go franchise. This is where you can use the Legends franchise, or like a generational remake. So you can put between the new major entries, you can put a bit more space while keeping a new Pokemon game coming out, probably at least one in every calendar year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the new generation version referred to as Gaia. It includes two versions, a K and an N, and I'm trying to think, like, what would the K and an N be? Judging on, like, the history of what they've picked. Yeah. And they always have, like, almost opposites, like Sword and Shield and stuff. What could K and N be?
Don't know.
Let us know in the comments below if you've got any good ideas. I mean, Gaia is obviously to do with the Earth, and it's yeah. So I'm thinking, like, more nature-based, natural and something, but I mean, it's Game Freak. They could, in Japanese, they could do absolutely anything here and surprise us all.
They started with colours, but then they've also done like rare metals, rare minerals, random letters. Then they went back to colours,
and then made up words like Arceus.
What was K and N?
K and N, yeah.
It could be night and night.
It could be, yeah, night and night. Like nuclear and because I don't know if you remember seeing the ROM fake version of Pokemon Nuclear.
It was uranium and nuclear, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it looked great, and it was like obviously pulled down because the Nintendo company went after them. But it's like, oh, what if you had Pokemon that were like nuclear powered, and everyone had like a different variation, and it looked and ran like the original trilogy, and it was like, oh, that looks all like I would play that if it came out, and then it was all pulled and they got sued, no doubt, and whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so Giga, I guess there's not much more to add to it now. We'll both be very intrigued once it gets officially revealed, especially if it's running on newer hardware. We haven't learned any more about the new Switch, other than Game Freak are working on stuff. They've unfortunately been hacked. So
one of Nintendo's developers, who pretty much owns the biggest franchise of all time, is working on a new game for the next Nintendo hardware. This is a huge revelation right now.
I'm blown away. Blown away. But obviously we wanted to get that into the show just because it's probably going to be a big, huge talking point. But I guess, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on it. What could K&N possibly mean? Are you excited for another entry in the series? And I guess it's back over to hungover Chris and Richie, who look probably a lot and sound a lot worse than we do now. So, enjoy the rest of the show, everyone.
Anyway, Chris, Halo.
Hello.
New studio, new name, new engine.
Wow.
What's going on over what was once free for free?
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere. Caught loads of people off guard this week. So for viewers and listeners out there, the former Studio 343, who've made, I want to say 3 Halo entries in the mainline series now, after the Halo World Championship events this year, which are a thing, they dropped like an unexpected video that basically tore up the rulebook with what they've had going on and said, we're shifting to Unreal Engine from Slipstream, which has been the engine for the views for the many last couple of years, and the studio that kind of been stewards of the franchise, who took over from Bungie when they moved on from Halo back at Halo 3, I want to say, or maybe Reach was the last one Bungie did. They took over, and 343 have had their probably ups and downs with the series. They've definitely fell from grace in terms of like being a big massive flagship, and I think Infinite was received well enough. It just wasn't supported quick enough, and they get into that in the breakdown. But reading bits from the blog, they've announced that they're going to do everything in Unreal going forward across multiple projects, so not just one, multiple. 343 Industries is now Halo Studios, So they are definitively working on Halo forever now. There's no getting away from it. It's like, no, it's in your name.
There was some people actually saying Microsoft should take it off 343 and give it to someone else because they weren't happy with the direction with 343's going. But I always felt that it's probably not that useful to do, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. They've changed around like the leadership structure and everything, and it all seems really positive, and the internet seems positive for it, and influencers and podcasters alike. I guess let's get into like the breakdown they do on the blog, which is starting with the engine. So that says the first step, switching from the studio's proprietary Slipspace engine. Unreal Engine is a key part of that change. Previously, we needed a large portion of staff just to simply develop and upkeep the engine it ran on. So that it looked like there was some behind-the-scenes stuff always going on. As gaming evolves and players increasingly point out how long it takes to make their favourite games in the series, they felt like they had to react. And this is the way the COO describes it. The way we made Halo games before doesn't necessarily work well for what we want to make games for in the future. Part of the conversation was how we help the team focus on making games versus making tools and the engines alongside them. So with Unreal, they basically go on to say that they're able to use multiple assets across multiple projects. They can do things quicker. They can bring in more expertise because not using a proprietary engine means that you can bring people from other studios. You can hire quicker, essentially, with people with actual hands-on experience, rather than having to go, bring you in, you're a designer, yes, great, now figure out the hell how Slipstream works, a system you've probably never seen or used before.
Which you also have to develop itself.
Yeah,
to do what you want it to do.
They say also some of the components within Slipspace are nearly 25-year-old, and Unreal is just epic. I've obviously had Unreal going for some time, and they said it's just hugely popular, hugely familiar with it, and it was ready for a change. So that's the first one. Do you think, I presume you're all in with it, seems like a smart move, I guess?
It does. My only concern is that if everything, because this is a bit of an ongoing trend of developers switching to things like Unreal Engine.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor was one of the notorious ones where EA weren't using their own Frostbite engine, and everyone was like, oh, that's weird, and then we got Fallen Order and Survivor out of it instead.
The problem I think could happen is, you know how all Bethesda games just feel the same? Mm-hmm. Everything from things like Deathloop to Fallout, it just, there's a very much Bethesda kind of vibe to them. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that can come from the engine. So if everything starts switching over to Unreal, everything might start feeling a bit samey. I understand why they're doing it. Sometimes a bespoke engine can be the right decision for a game, but
yeah, obviously art style and art direction will play a big part in that. I think the biggest thing realistically, and they found out with Infinite, is just the demand. It's impossible to keep up with the speed if you are having to do stuff for a proprietary engine, and we know game development is taking longer and longer for every title. And if they want a games as a service, which they aimed for with Infinite, with like content drops and seasonal drops, you can't do that if you keep having, like, we've seen Destiny struggle with it, where it's just like keeping up with your player base and keeping them engaged while keeping stuff new. Whereas
as things are taking longer and longer.
It's a tough world to live in, and Epic do it wonderfully with Fortnite as like the industry leader, because Fortnite can like drop something out within what feels like a day. Like, you get an announcement of, he's a movie trailer for, I don't know, the Hulk Hogan biopic, and then it's like, Hulk Hogan's in the game, like 2 days later. It's like, okay.
With Fortnite, they've very much got the pipeline set up so they can just churn out whatever they need to.
Yeah.
Switching up, I do think it's the right decision, actually, to switch over Unreal. It's just the potential sameness of how games feel is something I think they just need to keep an eye on. Mm-hmm. As they make these. And it's not just Halo Studios, there's other studios. As you do this, make sure your games don't just feel like the same as everything else that's out there. That's how we sometimes when we watch things like the Game Awards or Opening Night Live and stuff, and you're watching the trailers and just everything feels quite samey and quite generic. You need to keep an eye on making sure your game stands out.
Yeah, they did show off in the video. They showed off 3 environments they've done, which was one familiar, one renewed, and then one which was alien. So they showed like 3 biomes essentially, it running in Unreal, and they'll look gorgeous and like stunningly beautiful, and the art, like the style of it, and the light refraction, and like everything that you expect from like a proper modern AAA game was in there, and it looked great. You had like your Pacific Northwest, which is like kind of the Halo, I think, home planet vibe that you get from most. Like we've played 1 and 2, and that's pretty much what 1 and 2 look like. And then the alien worlds, like the Flood and stuff, and we know play a big part in the story. So I'm really intrigued by it. They went on to then talk about saying forging ahead with something they've described as Project Foundry, which isn't a game. It's not the way on a game. It's the almost like a new ethos at the studio of everyone can chip in and help with building assets, which is in turn going to allow them to share across multiple projects. So essentially it seems like if you work at Microsoft or Xbox or any kind of spoke around the orbit of the Project Foundry, is you can just dip in and go, oh, there's a tree that I need, there's a tank object or something that I need. And it's to clean up that pipeline you were describing of just actually having this foundation of just assets all running on the same engine. Seems like it's going to streamline a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and Project Foundry, it seems like just a way of like a set of probably tools and almost like a bit of a culture thing more than actual anything else. So if someone has an idea, they can quickly pull together a concept. Then that will help with, okay, I'll quickly pull a concept, pitch it to the team, yes, let's go ahead, let's get it.
Yeah.
Just to move that on at pace, especially because multiplayer is a big part of Halo. Well, I'm usually an advocate of single-player game should be single-player, multiplayer game should be multiplayer. Halo's one of them that is both and has always been, and I think that is something they probably need to keep, just as a thing, as a legacy. But multiplayer games need a level of ongoing support that single-player games don't.
Yeah.
So that's where you need to get that pipeline up and running so you can keep your content coming out to keep your players engaged.
Yeah, and I do think it'll work out well for them on all fronts. It's clearly a reset point that they felt they needed, and I think acknowledging that and drawing a line under it and saying, right, as of today, Halo Studios and the future of Halo begins now, almost. And the Foundry, if I'm not mistaken, again, apologies if we get it wrong, I'm sure the Foundry is the name where the Halo rings were like made, essentially, like where it was founded within the game lore. So it's like the Foundry is almost the spiritual successor of like the studio in our world, if that makes sense. So it's interesting where it goes with that regarding future projects. They did show off some clips of like Master Chief and stuff. I think what all this is kind of leaning to is it is going to be such a reset point. I can see the first one getting a remake and a reboot. Like, we've got the Master Chief collection, but
as
even
a way
that,
of
it's like a starting point of like, right, we know it's a proven quantity. Infinite did what Infinite did, for good or bad. But how do we get everyone back who's OG fans? How do we start with something that we know people will love, guaranteed, make it look better than ever? And if I'm not mistaken...
do you think it'll be like a Resident Evil style reboot where they're going to go, we're going to kind of largely be true to the original idea of the game, however, we're not going to be held back by it. We're going to make that game as if we are making it now.
And
because that's what they've done with like Resident Evil 2, didn't they? Where it's like, we're not just going to copy and paste scene by scene. We're actually just going to retweak things with modern sensibilities.
Yes, and
they need to have co-op in there right from the beginning this time, because that's one of the things they got hammered for.
I'm pretty sure it's got an anniversary coming up as well. It might be 50, because the original Xbox, I think, has got one coming up as well. Might be next year. It's 25 years. So imagine if they do a big blow-up party celebration and go, Halo Combat Evolved is back in Unreal and it looks stunning. And the multiplayer you loved from the first one is back and it's stunning. And then just take, like I said, if they do the Resident Evil tweaks to it and kind of pad it out and make... Because it was a short game. Like, when we played the campaign, we got through it surprisingly quick. I think flesh that world out, flesh the characters out, the Flood, and maybe tighten the story up a little bit, use all your expertise. And I just think it would be an easy win for them. Yeah,
expand on the story, expand on the characters, have a bit more, really. Just take the concept of the original game and just go, I'm going to do more. And I know a lot of people might not like that. Oh, you can't go back and you're changing things. But if the original is still available, and Xbox is fantastic for that, for the backwards compatibility, you can just go back and play the original. So it's that kind of have your cake and eat it too moment, really.
Yeah, there's also... So yeah, it's Xbox's 20th 25th anniversary on November 15th, 2026. So they've got 2 years, essentially. What if it also launches with the new Xbox?
It could do.
Like, imagine launching on, like, your anniversary year, 25 years of Xbox, brand new console. We know they're tipped to go early because of how poor they've done this cycle. Yeah. And you've got an original Halo relaunch, remaster, prime to go. Like, could you appeal to Xbox fans in any better scenario? New console, flashy game of the original, ready to go. Have fun, get excited.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I think the tip to go early is, while I love my Series S, there is this feeling that the Series S is holding Microsoft back in this generation because all their games have to run on the Series S. So it's not this generation, especially for Xbox. And actually the same with PlayStation. Doesn't feel like the step up that we've had between the previous generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think you're right, it could be a real good way. And to be honest, I think this blog post is actually very important because it kind of shows that Microsoft have been thinking and paying attention, because it feels like the shine has come off Halo as as one of their flagship IPs. Mm-hmm. If they just announced a new Halo game, it'd be like, oh cool, more Halo.
Yeah,
we like Halo, that's good, but it wouldn't be like, oh my god, they're doing Halo. Yes,
yeah.
It's that difference where this blog is going, look, which we are changing things, we're making changes for the better.
Yeah.
Now you can be excited for the new Halo when we're ready to tell you about it.
And I think exploring Master Chief and stuff in the original tale in a deeper level will work really well. Isn't it ironic though? We're at a point 25 years of Xbox soon enough, and we're still like back in that cycle of talking about a new Gears game coming out, a new Halo game coming out, and it's like, I know they've got other IP around it, but it's like, I hope they're good. And I hope they sell. It's so hard with the Game Pass model of like, you can't really gauge how well stuff does anymore. Like Infinite, we presume did not as good as the rest, but it's at the same time I have no idea what the player count's like. I have no idea how well it sold because everyone just picked it up for free on Game Pass, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I guess.
I think there's like kind of three main metrics when you're trying to judge how good a game is. One, there's the actual reviews. Mm-hmm. 2 is sales, but 3 is like how much people have actually played the game. Because sales alone, I always think, doesn't tell the full story. Because everyone could buy a game and not play it, and go, "Oh, this is crap." Like,
so you just have to look how many are on the shelves.
Retention,
of like
it's player retention.
Yeah,
that's the key thing. And player retention doesn't have to be hundreds and hundreds of hours. If it's a 30-hour game and your average player retention is 25 hours, you've done a fucking good job.
And it's having them come back, like you said. It's like after a breakaway, like you still come back to the title. They do go on in the blog to say, fear not, Halo Infinite fans, it will be supported through the Slipspace engine. You can expect more operations and updates to Forge mode and stuff throughout year 4 of the Halo Championship Series and beyond. You'd imagine now that means Infinite's life is now cut short, right? If you're moving everyone over to Unreal, at some point you will need to move your devs off that old game into the new one, and they'll have to sunset it if they're no longer using Slipspace anymore. So that will be interesting, because how easy you can port assets over. Can you use Unreal to go back to Infinite, or ironically will Infinite just end?
I think it will probably just be a case of they'll keep Infinite going till they're ready to start to. They'll keep it going as long as they possibly can.
Oh yeah,
because why wouldn't you? Yeah, I think this is a nice opportunity for them to go, all the assets and stuff that we've worked on before, bin them. Well, not bin them, shelf them. Like they are now just there for reference, but we're going to start from scratch, remake all the assets in Unreal. So don't just find a way of porting it over. Actually, just put the legwork in now to create that foundation that you want to build on going forward.
Yeah. And they go on to talk about going forward about, yes, we want to be clear, it's Halo games, plural, in development right now. We had a disproportionate focus on trying to create conditions to be successful in servicing Halo Infinite. They go on to then say, this switching to Unreal allows us to put focus on making multiple experiences. After saying focusing on a single evolving project was difficult. We obviously had the Master Chief Collection as well, and it opens it up to what can you do in this world. And this is when I've listened and spoke to like Halo fans in the past, like some of our friends and everything. they have in their mind like this wider world. We had Halo Wars, which was totally different. I know they've done it a little bit with Gears, but I think just as people who've only played the first 2 entries in the series and dabbled in occasional multiplayer, in my mind, I think I said a couple of weeks ago or something, the Helldivers model. I would love to see a Helldivers style game where you drop in as a group of Spartans and you just go and take out the Flood in a Helldivers mode. Like, you don't have any deep story necessarily. You just have the different planets in the Halo world, a couple of different Halo rings kicking around, and you just drop in like you do. And like, for anyone who enjoyed and watched the TV show, that's pretty much episode to episode what you do. You're saving a planet. You are essentially the police of the galaxy. That gives you the perfect format to just go on and shoot some bugs, shoot some Flood, kill these giant monster people. It's
what can we do with the IP, really, isn't it? It's like, because when we've played the games, there is this impression that there is a greater universe out there, and you can almost feel like they've got documents and documents and documents are stacked up, even from the first game, of world building that doesn't actually make its way into the game, that they're there as a reference tool for when they're making future games.
Yeah,
that they've got this probably huge amount of lore that's probably never been published in any way, shape, or form. That is just there to guide the development of the games, so you can explore other parts of it.
Yeah, and there is like that huge, like, as you said, bigger picture. And I think maybe the first 2 games, I don't know how you felt, but I felt the first 2 games, like, they showed intrigue, but they never really explored it more. Whereas to compare it with something like Mass Effect, because you did planet hop quite a bit, and the story, very, very rich story in Mass Effect, I got totally drawn into that universe, and I read the lore, and I was listening to it, and I felt like I understood the history of that galaxy. And with Infinite, after 2 games in, I didn't really get that vibe. But like you said, it's there, but they only really scratched the surface in the campaign. And subsequently, games 3, 4, 5, and onwards could expand that out way, way more. But we're not there yet. So this is why I think a remake / reboot of the first one with that Resident Evil style expansion of things would work really well. And yeah, multiple games. What would you like to see out of a Halo? Would you like a horror game where you've been chased by the Flood or something? Or,
you know what? I never even thought of a horror game, but you could do that. You could literally do a game where you're not in the power armor.
Yeah. You don't have to be a Spartan.
It's more grounded. You could just maybe you're almost like a survival thing, almost like similar, like something like The Last of Us. Like, you're on a planet that's been invaded by the Flood.
Yeah.
And you're working your way through a narrative. You try whatever else has got going on that planet. They literally have an infinite universe to play around with.
Because the Flood were like that's what they did. They went. The whole point of the Halo ring was to stop the Flood taking over the entire galaxy, wasn't it? And like basically turning everyone into them zombie creature things. So yeah, that like. You have the monsters to make a horror game. Like, imagine a Dead Space Halo. You arrive on one of the Halo rings, and it's half shut down. Some of the systems aren't working. It's dark as anything, and these Flood creatures are in the shadows and in the vents. And
imagine playing quite a grounded survival horror game, and at one point through it, probably nearing like the end of the game, you come across like Master Chief's iconic sword, which is actually he just steals off enemies. It's not actually part of the stuff, but you find one of them and they go, "Oh shit!" You have that kind of moment.
Music swell, and you're like, "Oh shit, let's go!" Yeah. I think it could be great. Like, let us know in the chat. I think our audience are probably far more versed in this world, in these universes, than we are. So yeah, let us know in the comments below what you would like to see from Halo.
Like a 3D, like Metroidvania style thing, where finding an item like the sword can then help you unlock different parts of the map. So yeah, it is such a rich universe that is ripe for, again, multiple games. So
what actually is Halo Wars? Oh, Halo Wars is a RTS. So that
doing
sounds
RTS?
Up my street. Yeah, that sounds right up my street. You've got the team was just wrapped up on Age of Mythology.
Yeah.
And then again, if the assets are now being used in Unreal, that's where you could realistically take an asset from a real world 3D game, right? Shrink the asset down and put it onto a grid, like for an RTS title, but you wouldn't have to make everything from scratch because it's there. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and you can work with the Age of Empires guys to kind of, because they know how to make these sort of games. Like,
they're the best, surely, right? That's who you would want to go to, and they've just been freed up.
And it gives, like, with Microsoft now, with the RTS genre, then they'd have Is it Ara History Untold? Is that actually Microsoft first party? I can't remember. I know it's on Game Pass.
It's not first party now.
All right. Well, they've got Age of Empires as kind
Survival,
of quite a grounded medieval historical RTS, and now they could use Halo, like bring back Halo Wars as a sci-fi RTS.
Yeah. So to add that history into it, Richie.
Yeah.
The team Ensemble who made Halo Wars, they made Age of Empires. 1, 2, Mythology, and 3.
Sometimes
didn't
we
do
should
Halo
research.
Wars 2. Yeah, we should. Apparently they were working on a Halo MMO codenamed Titan, which never happened.
Yeah, I think that's probably one you might want to stay away from, because I think a Halo MMO already exists. It's called Destiny. It's. I think that the opportunity is probably past for something like that.
I mean, you had Bungie making Halo for you at one point, so
yeah.
The proof was there. Racing game? Warthog racing?
No. No.
Little mini warthogs and a giant Master Chief in it, like a kart racer.
It'd be hilarious.
It would be funny. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah. So let us know in the comments, seemingly the universe is open to make anything, even a Halo kart racer.
Indeed. But you know what? It is a weird universe, isn't it? Because Nintendo have announced some new hardware.
Yes, the Switch 2. It's here.
No, it's not the Switch 2. It's time to wake up, everyone. Nintendo are not making a Switch 2 because they're too busy making an alarm clock.
Nintendo. You never fail to surprise me. I mean, yeah, most people must use their phone, right? Nowadays. You're on mute.
That was my initial reaction, actually, to this. Okay, it's cool, but phone? I could literally just download the Mario theme and stick it on my phone as my alarm sound. So it's like, it's not adding functionality that I don't already have.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware, there's an alarm clock that has like a screen on the front of it instead of like just a clock face, and it comes with multiple Nintendo franchise IP themes. And to read from their website, introduce a little play to your wake-up routine with Nintendo sound clock, Alarmo. It's called Alarmo.
I like
this
that,
interactive alarm clock. It sounds like Cappy from Odyssey. Yeah. It's like, he's just Alarmo, he's just Mario's clock friend.
Yeah.
This interactive alarm clock detects your movements whilst getting up and plays sounds to make you feel like you're waking up in a game world. So not only does it wake you up when you get around and walk around, it's like, I don't know how this is going to work in person. So reading from some of the features, waking up, select a title, pick a scene, set a time, and let Alarmo do the rest. In the morning, the alarm starts playing at the time you set using music and sound effects from the scene you've chosen. Okay. Rolling over, Alarmo has sensors that react to your movements and will play sounds if you stretch your arms or roll over. Your alarm will grow quieter if you move around. So it's almost like trying to gamify waking up. Getting up. Once you're up and out of bed, your alarm will stop without you even needing to touch it. And then it goes on to say 35 different alarm clocks from 5 Nintendo franchises. Each alarm has unique sounds, visual themes, and a wake-up experience. The screens also change to match your chosen game. They showcase Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, Pikmin, and Ring Fit Adventure. It's that famous franchise. By linking your Nintendo account, you can download additional alarm themes like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing. And you can customize it to keep track of your sleep activity. It shows your records. It has sleepy sounds, a gentle mode, a firm mode, an hourly charm if you want to. And the most hilarious part about all this, Richie, it's £90.
I know, that was the thing. It's like, if this was like 30 quid for a kid, this would be quite a cool, like...
Yeah, you don't want them to have the phone maybe in the bedroom or something. You want them to kind of quiet down, and they like Mario, I guess.
It's like a daft present for Christmas or something, but like £90 for something that I will want to just throw at a wall first thing in the morning. It's like, I don't...
It's such a Nintendo decision.
I understand the price point, actually, because it does have like the movement tracker features and stuff, as creepy as they are. So there is a bit of tech going in there.
What happens if you like?
But it's an alarm clock.
I'm sure a lot of people who are buying these maybe live on their own. But what if you've got two people? Like, if your partner's staying in bed, like you don't necessarily get up at the same time.
Well, that's very simple, Chris. You just buy two of them.
Oh, of course, yes. How foolish of me.
Yeah.
It's such a Nintendo thing, isn't it? Should we focus on the Switch 2 and try and get that out for this Christmas season? No. We're going to make an alarm clock. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more could we say about this? Will you be picking one up this Christmas?
No, I won't. Again, if it was £30, I might have been tempted.
It's just one of them things.
You know what I find hilarious? It doesn't have Pokemon, and they have Pokemon Sleep.
Yeah, when I saw the announcement,
surely that's it's a match made in heaven. Pokemon Sleep and the Nintendo, and Alarmo.
Maybe. It's not really a news story this week, but there's been 10,000 invitations gone out to Nintendo subscribers online to test something, and they've all been secretly NDA'd against talking about this playtest that's going to happen late at the back end of this month. What if it's to playtest Pokemon Sleep on Alarmo? Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo.
No, I can't see. It actually could be. The thing is, that's one of them stories where everyone's going, oh my god, Nintendo getting people to playtest something, it's going to be amazing, and it will literally it will be something like that.
Mm-hmm. Nintendo want to track your sleep.
With it being Switch Online that they're testing, it could be a new expansion to the Switch Online thing.
Could be.
So at the moment, you've got the NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, Sega Mega Drive. Am I missing any? I think they're all the ones you can have. So maybe it is. I can't see the GameCube. Not on the current Switch hardware. To emulate a GameCube, it would be, I think, beyond the Switch's capabilities. Yeah. They're better off just putting the game straight on there.
That's true. I mean, the lady in the video, she's clearly a massive Nintendo fan, because some of the memorabilia around her house is like so Mario themed and such. But I'd love to know who these people are in these videos who sleep in this particular way they're showcasing the video. Like, they're perfectly on the back, their arms are on their chest. It's like, I guarantee you everyone in the world sleeps like proper ugly pillow face, all spread out, duvet everywhere. It's like where these people are practically buried in a casket with their arms across them in the most peaceful looking sunlit, sun-baked room ever, waking up on the morning. Like, this guy, the third guy they showcase, his bloody windows and curtains are open. It's like, who goes to bed and leaves the curtains open?
It's almost like as if the advert was directed by someone who understands the concept of sleep but doesn't participate in it.
Yeah, and it's also marketed at young adult, it seems like. But yeah, if you'll be buying an alarm clock, let us know. Yeah, everyone in this video, their curtains are open. Like, someone is Alarmo getting up and opening the curtains before sounding the alarm. I don't like this clock, Richie. I think it's got ulterior motives.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bit creepy that it tracks your movement. Like, I don't really need an alarm clock to do that.
Get back here, says the alarm clock. Yeah, it's a Nintendo decision, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll sell out everywhere, especially Japan.
Probably, yeah. There'll be a lot of kids asking for it for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Mom, I want the new Nintendo. What is it? It's an alarm clock.
Yeah, you just think you could buy probably nearly 2 Switch games for the cost of this alarm clock. It's like, just buy the games.
Yeah, just buy the games.
You'll get much more fun out of them, trust me.
If you need to have an alarm clock, go buy yourself one you can probably get one off Amazon for $10 or something. I don't know.
Or use your phone, use your phone. The rest of the world.
Yeah, or you use your phone and then just go play some goddamn video games. But you know what isn't an alarm clock, Chris? The PlayStation Plus catalogue for October.
Is it not?
It's not. It's not an alarm clock. There might be an alarm clock in one of the games, but we have new titles coming to PlayStation Plus for October for your premium and extra members.
What do we got?
We have Grease, Ghostbusters. Which one is it? Spirits Unleashed, Return to Monkey Island. Wasn't that only last year it came out?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. Dead Island 2, The Devil in Me, which is part of the Dark Pictures anthology, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 Point Campus.
2 Point Campus.
What are these? Oh, Firefighting Simulator, The Squad. That's what it's called, Firefighting Simulator, The Squad.
Is.
Overpass 2. Tour de France 2023. Not 2024, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you get an annual release of this, maybe, but yeah.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is a re-release. And you get The Last Clockwind on PSVR 2. On PSVR 2. Dino Crisis. PS4, PS5. Is that the one you're waiting for me to get to?
That was the one.
I'll get through the list and then you can talk about Dino Crisis. Siren. R-Type Dimensions EX for PS4. And that is it. Dino Crisis, Chris, go.
Go. I don't have much to say on Dino Crisis, other than why the hell hasn't had a remake yet. I know I've said that many times on this show. But yeah, for anyone who hasn't played Dino Crisis, this is the PlayStation 1 game ported over. Research scientists, it's pretty much Jurassic Park meets Resident Evil. Like, what's the not to like or be scared of, I guess. This game scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I definitely shouldn't have been playing it. Obviously, by today's standards, it probably looks not scary in the slightest.
Yeah, because of the pixelized nature, like the blockiness of all the
absolutely.
stuff,
yeah. I must have been probably 9-10-year-old when this came out. I don't know how we got our hands on it as kids, but it was one of them. And I remember playing it with my cousin and just absolutely like having nightmares going to sleep. There's a scene I think in particular where you solve a puzzle, like typical Resident Evil puzzle, where you're getting like the coloured lights. You have to get the battery things to go in the switchboard to like light up the red, the green, the blue, and whatever. And when you do it, it unlocks a gate further down the compound, and velociraptors basically get out and do that. Fixed camera angle for Resident Evil. It shows you the door outside of the room you're in, and the raptors converging on that room, and the music picks up, and it panic. And like the second I leave this room, they're going to be there. They're outside waiting for me. And tank controls as well, like Resident Evil style.
Oh god.
But ultimately, scary as hell. You fight T-Rex and stuff, but it has those scenes where, like blood in the corridor, and something's going to smash through the window. It's like you find that there's a corner to the corridor, you see the blood, like the blood marks go out and down where it's clearly something's been dragged. The music goes really quiet, and then you're walking through a corridor, and there's rain and flashes of lightning outside, and you're like, so it's going to happen here. And it's ultimate Resident Evil, and I think Capcom, this has to be on their radar for like an RE remake style. Yeah. Modernize it a little bit, tweak it, improve the story. But yeah, we don't get enough dinosaur games, Richie. They're literally nature's true monsters, and other than Jurassic Park franchise, no one else utilizes should be fantastic IPs.
And Turok seems to be dead in the water as well, as it was one of the other notable dinosaur games. Go on, Microsoft, bring back Turok.
Bring back loads. But so I'm looking forward to see that. I'm really enjoying the cadence in which we're getting like these old games. Obviously, I waxed lyrical about Time Splitters earlier on. There's a couple of old ones I've gone back to recently where like now they've got trophies like Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, like all those kind of things. And I think for game preservation, it's fantastic. For kindling interest, it's fantastic. And just playing it on modern hardware is really, really nice. So, yeah. Aside from that, the month's Dead Island 2, great. It's the most recent one.
I think it's quite a solid month, actually, to be honest. Look, if you look through some of the games, it's quite a variety. Dead Island 2, recent one, middling game. It's about Metacritic was like a 75.
Did well.
Yeah, 75 PC, 73 PS5, 76 Xbox. So it's a mid 7 out of 10 game. But that's a solid edition. It's a solid library edition. 2 Point Campus, critically acclaimed.
Yeah, I know lots of people love it.
Return to Monkey Island, people love Monkey Island. Greece, again, did really well when it came out as a smaller title, an indie game.
John Travolta was fantastic in it.
Didn't know he was in it.
He's not. He's in Grease the movie.
Oh God! No.
I went straight over your head, that one.
It did. I'm hungover.
Was that a cat?
It's either a cat or a child.
All right. I heard that, and I was like,
either way, it needs to go away.
It does. In Return to Monkey Island, that's a solid one.
And if you didn't like it, you got Tour de France, so...
Yeah, the Ghostbusters one is probably one to avoid. It's not a great one. It's the multiplayer kind of like drop in, drop out team up one, and it didn't really land that well. But yeah, the Dark Pictures anthology is probably one of the better received ones, but I feel like this being included is just them trying to recoup some money.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many games are left in the Dark Pictures anthology. We must have got most of them now.
I feel like the Dark Pictures anthology in itself is just a flop. I think it's. It almost feels like they should have got rid of the anthology bit and just released the games on their own merits, rather than trying to tie them in together.
Yeah. So we've had Man of Medan was the first one. We've had Little Hope. We've had House of Ashes.
Little Hope's meant to be really good.
The Devil in Me and Directive 8020. So yeah, that one's... The Devil in Me was the most recent one.
Yeah, and that's the one on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, that's quite good then, that you're getting the more recent one.
And
like, visually, they all look like really... Like, they've had some decent, like... I just hope collectively at the end of it all, it kind of comes together. Like, somehow, like, it's unified. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah. And there is that reality where they've not done any better than Until Dawn. Like, 10 years later, Until Dawn is still, like, the pinnacle of what they're able to do. And, like, I think these games are good. They just... Yeah. It's an odd choice from a studio to just announce and keep cracking on these. And, like, to their credit as well, they do turn them around quite quickly as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're smaller scale titles, but...
Well, yeah, so they've actually split it into 2 seasons. So Man of Medan was 2019, Little Hope 2020, House of Ashes 2021, Devil in Me 2022. So every year
it's a good
they've brought out a game. Yeah, and then Season 2 starting in next year with Directive 8020.
Right.
So it is interesting. And with it being in seasons... There probably is a good chance that they do bring it back, but looking through the cast and characters list on Wiki, other than the curator, there's no crossover in characters. That's when you're like kind of going, well, is it? Are these even actually linked? Because I know it's an anthology series, but what's the point of it if they're not linked? Could they just be standalone titles?
Yeah.
You want to start hoping like Season 2, you start seeing recurring characters. I've not played any of the games, so it might be impossible. All these characters might be dead in the game they're appearing, for all I know.
I mean, yeah, for the choices you've made. I mean, as a side note to the Dark Pictures anthology, did you see the Until Dawn remasters debuted like with lower numbers than Concord across Steam?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's had a rough launch on. It obviously came out on PlayStation and PC, and they're just saying, yeah, looking at the tracker numbers, it's a worse launch than Concord. What's it got? A peak player count of 2,600 was it? Which I don't think it speaks to the quality of the game or the port. I genuinely think it's because for some reason Sony put this out at like 50 quid. Or 60 quid, might have even been more, I'm not too sure.
It's 50 quid for a game that people were kind of looking at and going, we didn't really need a remaster of this. The original game is fantastic and holds up well.
It might be 60 quid actually.
It could be it could be one of them where it is just more of a bit of a slow burn.
60 quid?
60, yeah.
60 quid for that when you've got Horizon Remaster with a £10 upgrade path coming out. Like, again, no upgrade path. If you owned Until Dawn, there was no route to get this, which is like, okay. Again, the game's great, it's fun, but asking someone to pay 60 quid in today's world.
So for some reason, I'm on the American Amazon rather than the UK one, but the PS5 Until Dawn is $59 on Amazon, or the PS4 one is $26.80. You can see pricey. Why people might be going, why go for the PS5 one?
Yeah. I don't, and I think seemingly with the release of it, everyone has said like the improvements aren't that phenomenal. Like they are improvements, but not that price point worthwhile.
But I remember the general reaction when it was announced that they were going to be making a remake was, why? That was kind of the prevailing thing. It's like, okay, why? Why are you remaking that? It's good.
Yeah, rebuilt for a new generation, discover new collectibles, all new environments to investigate, a recut narrative sequence that deepens the mystery further, get close to the action with all new immersive third-person camera, interesting, and enjoy a new musical score, reauthored audio that'll keep you on the edge of your seat throughout the journey. And obviously, we discussed the varied ending that they've added in to set up a sequel. But yeah, no one wants to pay £60 for it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
like,
it's probably
even
worth
with
it,
Halloween coming up.
If you've
never played it before,
if you've never played it, it's probably worth the money. And it sounds like they have put in actually, they haven't just slapped a new layer of paint on it. They have actually done some significant work with like new cameras, rejigging the story, deepening the narrative, adding new areas. So it is actually expanded on the original.
Yeah, but I mean, there's an article in the game that goes on to say like they haven't really promoted. There's been no marketing since its reveal in January outside of just PlayStation. So yeah, I think it just kind of came. But I think it's just PlayStation again. They're just testing the water with like how much do we charge? Concord's going to be 40 quid. That bombed, and then we're going to do an upgrade path for the Zero Dawn remaster, but not for this. Helldivers seemed to work, but then what they're going to do with Marathon, where they're apparently behind the scenes tussling with making it free to play and or £40 path again. And I just think they just roll a dice and go like, let's do this. But I think Until Dawn ultimately didn't need a remaster, and no one wants to pay £60 for it. So yeah, they're in a bit of a pickle. But as far as the Dark Pictures anthology games getting added to the catalogue, I think, yeah, it's a solid month for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to Metaphor ReFantazio. ReFantazio. Apparently it's an Italian game now, not a Japanese one.
Yeah.
It's out. Doing quite well, isn't it? Review-wise.
Out of nowhere.
Sitting at the time of recording on their Metacritic at 93. Based on 37. Yeah, based on 37 critical reviews. It's doing rather well. I must admit, I haven't paid that much attention to this, even though I do like Persona, and this is Atlas, so it's the same studio who makes them. I might have to pay a bit of attention to this now.
Yeah,
if it's that good.
When the reviews started dropping just before the weekend, like you were in my head go-to. It's like, well, you absolutely love Persona, and it seems like they've got another smash hit on their hand where they've spun off essentially a spiritual success. I've heard the gameplay, the themes, it's all very Persona, and now they've just got a seemingly a new hit franchise on their hands. It's yeah, some of the reviews like reading from yeah, go ahead.
It's cheaper than Until Dawn.
See, like go if you've got 50 quid of 60 quid spare right now, where would you go spend your money on a brand new game that's getting 10 out of 10, 100% scores across the board? Will no doubt be in the Game of the Year conversation now, or a slightly polished, older game. It's laughable. So yeah, reading from VCG, they give it 100 or 10 out of 10, saying Metaphor ReFantazio could have so easily just been a Persona with the names filed off, but it's more than that. It matches incredible fun, expansive combat with an excellent cast of characters that make the nearly 100-hour journey a memorable one. Eurogamer also gave it 100, 10 out of 10. They say Persona's veteran Atlas flexes its expertise with a fresh take on high fantasy. What it lacks in subtlety, it makes up for in grandeur and heart. And GameSpot also gave it 100, 10 out of 10. Somehow, Metaphor ReFantazio is even greater than the sum of its parts, yet each piece of the game is masterfully crafted. I found the whole experience transcendent, and I was impressed by how I felt both novel yet familiar, elevated and modern, yet so reminiscent to the fantasy RPG I sunk countless hours into my little grey PlayStation. Obviously, back in the day on other ones, on RPGs, but most importantly, it made me remember that we are lost without hope. It sounds silly and cliche, I know. This review went really hard on this this conclusion. I know sometimes it can be. It certainly doesn't put the fires set on over the world, but it reminded me that giving into despair and fear serves no one, myself included. It reminded me that fantasy and fiction have power. Words and stories have power. They can inspire and comfort, and these things are vital to preserving. And it reminded me that proof of good in the world can be us, and that's a good start. Wow, that critic for GameSpot really went to town on that review. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to write you my magnum opus Shakespeare review. Wow.
And it is literally universal praise. The lowest review score I can see is an 83.
Yeah.
Like, even that's pretty solid. That's a solid review score. Yeah, I need to buy this game.
Nines and tens.
I think this might be my next game once I finish Zelda and Jedi. I think I might have to, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's like that. Even just them snippets of reviews. This is why waiting for games is good if you're unsure about them, because like now you can knowing how much you like the Persona one. It's brand new, so it's like it's current. It's this year, and it's getting just stellar reviews across the board. Like, yeah, you've got all of those pillars that you would make an informed decision on, and it's only 50. It's not even like 70 quid either.
Yeah, and I just reading one line from Push Square, I think just highlights something that's very important. Metaphor ReFantazio is one of the most memorable RPGs we've played in years. Damn. It's that memorable thing. If it sticks in your mind, to be honest, when I first saw the trailers and stuff, I thought it looks decent, but it does just look like another Atlas game. Mm-hmm. But the fact that all the reviews going, no, this is actually really, really good. Like, this is potentially better than Persona 5, the way it's reviewing. Like, and with it being more high fantasy, they're taking taking their like, kind of Atlas charm and the presentation to a different genre.
Mm-hmm. It's, I mean, yeah, it's got my intrigue now. Out of nowhere. The sixth axis describe it as Metaphor ReFantazio is sublime. Persona fans will have an absolute blast playing this and hunting out the subtle, yet also not so subtle nods to its franchise's cousin. A couple of minor annoyances make it feel rough around the edges, but they don't hold it back from otherwise a perfect score. And they give it a 9, so maybe not quite a perfect score there.
Yeah.
But
unless their rating systems only goes up to 9.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Washington Post, the guy who writes over there, his rating system is 4 stars. He doesn't do 5, so it's like 4 stars is top marks, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. I think this is a game that very much I'm going to have to buy at some point. It's my birthday coming up as well, so.
Ooh, there you go. ReFantazio birthday.
I need to ring the girlfriend.
Right now, do it now live on the show. Like,
hi, honey, buy me a game. She'd be like, all right,
please.
Probably. She probably would. Yeah. Genuinely.
Well, yeah, it sounds like they've got a smash hit on their hands. And again, this is what it's great to see when devs not step out of the comfort zone, because it's very much just still a Persona game, but making new IP. Because then this is stuff now when we look back in 10 years and we've got like maybe the sequel. Like, this is where it spawns from, giving studios that creative freedom to do something new and a little bit different. And we saw it work so well with like last generation, like with PlayStation, giving studios that made great games, but then ultimately went on to do different things, like Guerrilla pivoting from Killzone to making Horizon. It's like, what? And then now we've got the Horizon franchise, allowing Naughty Dog to not just keep making Uncharted games, do something different, and we got The Last of Us out of it. It's like, yeah, like the talent is there. You don't need to shackle, which is ironic after talking about the 343 getting shackled to Halo Studios in everything, including the name.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's great.
But, yeah, and it's worth noting as well that on the PlayStation Store, you can download the Prologue demo for free.
You can.
So I'm assuming you can do it on other platforms. I only checked PlayStation because I was just looking at the price for myself online.
Does your save carry over?
Don't know.
Because that can keep you tied over to your birthday. You could play the demo and then.
But I'm just saying that if it's a game that you're not sure about, because the thing with Atlas is their games are very Japanese, and like the kind of anime aesthetic and the way that kind of handles. So if you're not sure, go play the demo.
Yeah, win-win. The Japanese developers love a good demo, don't they?
Yeah, I think demos are great actually, because it does give you that test bed. If you've got a good product.
Mm-hmm.
Get the demo in people's hands, and it can be the last thing that a demo can be the thing that turns someone into to buy it.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy 16 demo is what like fully sealed it on for me that I was going to play that one.
Yeah,
looked great, sounded great. It had the franchise praise from everyone else, and I was like, you know what? It's like I think it took me like less than an hour, and it was like I'm in.
And this is where cloud gaming can come into play, because cloud gaming theoretically should make it easier to make demos. The promise of Google Stadia. Yeah,
just jump in and boosh. The promise.
Yeah. Anyway, Alien Isolation is getting a sequel, and it's in early development, with the original director returning. Sweet. This is good news.
Yeah, we
10-year-old Alien Isolation.
I know. It's one of them where I'd like to say we liked Alien Isolation, but I think that's the wrong word to describe it. It was great. You played it. You and one of our friends had the Xbox Kinect, with the Kinect, so it could hear you breathing, couldn't it? The Xenomorph.
Yeah, because it was weird because the Kinect would track your movement, so you could actually peek around corners. But it also picked up noise, so if you were talking too loudly, the alien detected that. Which is like that. So we were just sat on the couch going, shh, be quiet, get in the cupboard, hide in the cupboard. Okay,
not talking.
Like,
it's interesting because it almost like it inherently makes you add more fear to the situation.
Yeah, it does. Like, it's immersive.
Yeah, it really like it's funny because that's like when like a totally side story, but like that's when I'm playing around with my little daughter and we're like hiding from her mother. And it's like, quick, shh, and like that, like little you talking to her and going like, hide. It like proper sets like childlike panic into her. She's like, oh shit, like I need to do something. And you saying that like sitting on the couch going, oh shit, he's around the corner. Like stay still. You're almost like, yeah, you are immersing yourself like without a script. You're just doing it naturally. And then plus obviously if there's a VR element, that's just going to scare the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
And I think the Alien franchise, through all of their different quirks and qualities through the movies and everything else, I think from video games it's horror. It's absolute bread and butter. It should be in horror because it works so well.
Yeah.
And the reason I think the reason it works quite well in this is similar to like the first Jurassic Park game. Is like you don't need to see the enemies, the creatures, the monsters to make genuine horror. It should be the suspense that does that. And in isolation, it's not seeing the xenomorph, it's seeing its shadow or hearing it or a vent knock over.
Just knowing it's there. Sometimes it's like, I haven't seen it in half an hour.
Yeah, I mean, the little dot on your radar, it's getting closer and it's like, getting louder. That beep, 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 beep. You're like, shit.
Yeah, it is. I think it's kind of. Well, it's not really a unique game, but it was done so well. It's like it is. I think it is a perfect Alien game. Like in terms of survival horror, the survival horror style, it is such a good game. I'm a coward, so I probably won't be playing it. I may get forced to by my girlfriend, but that doesn't mean I can't like appreciate what the game is. And I do think it was a genuinely fantastic game.
Yeah.
And 10 years old, damn it.
Marking it. We enjoyed Aliens Fireteam when we played that. Mm-hmm. Probably about a year or so ago now as well. That was a nice little fun team-up game.
Yeah.
Better than Colonial Marines.
Everything was, though.
Everything was better than Colonial Marines. Even the 1996 Alien Trilogy game for PlayStation 1, which I loved.
You know what? It's also better than Colonial Marines. Tomb Raider. 4, 5, and 6 are getting remastered, and they come out on Valentine's Day.
Oh, same day as Assassin's Creed Shadows. I saw this announcement. It was one of them where I think a lot of people didn't expect it, especially because I think one of the games is like the worst reviewed Tomb Raider game, but it's Aspyr doing it again, so the masters of the remaster, and in partnership with Crystal Dynamics again. They're going back to complete it's called the Core Trilogy. That's not its name. It's Core is the studio initially. I actually watched a video earlier this week about the history of Tomb Raider, and it was Core was 6 people originally who started up making the original games. It evolved and a couple of people left. I think one of the art directors, when they started like sexualizing Lara and marketing and stuff back in the 90s, like he was like, this isn't what we were aimed at for this.
Yeah.
And they wanted to get away from it. And initially, when they did, I want to say it's the Darkness one. Is it
Angel of Darkness?
Angel of Darkness. They tried to write Lara out of the game. So basically, the studio, they left it to the last minute to write Lara out of the game. So when they went to the wider team, the publishers were like, "Uh-oh, she's dead. Guess we can't work on Tomb Raider anymore," because they were fed up of it at this point. Like they'd done like 4 or 5 games maybe. There was like mass panic to like remedy it and sort it, and then inevitably they've handed it over to Crystal Dynamics, and that's where they stepped in, and we got the kind of like mini reboot, refreshed version. But yeah, these 6 forms the last of the Core like double trilogy that they made. So everything aside though, I think it's great. Again, preservation. The first ones, it comes with like I want to say modern controls or the option to have
it's option
modern.
My girlfriend bought bought them, and you do have the option to change to how you want the controls to be.
Yeah,
and they still play the same as the original were, but you can use things like the analog stick now.
So yeah, we've got Last Revelation, Chronicles, and Angel of Darkness. And I think Angel of Darkness is the closest you get to... when Angel of Darkness came out, Uncharted, the first Uncharted came out, so it was really starting to be held up to the light of, like, actually, this is what Tomb Raider games should be.
Yeah.
Instead, you got Angel of Darkness, which didn't do quite as well, but it looks like they've gone back in. You get all your typical polish and clean up different modes. It looks like they've added in.
I think it's good because it gets these onto modern hardware. That's the main thing for me. Like with the remasters, like, yep, now you can play these games on modern hardware, so you can introduce to a new generation of people, and people who have nostalgia for them can go back and play them again.
Yeah, there's something nice about having them in a collection as well. Like as someone who is a collector of physical games, having them just like there, like what was back in the day 3 premium AAA price games, probably £60-70. You now get all 3 in this nice little all 6, I guess, in the wider package, and yeah, it goes well. It reminds me that I'm missing a Tomb Raider game, unfortunately, though. In a world where we haven't had an Uncharted game for 7-8 years, and seemingly no one, and Indiana Jones is first person. It's like, man, Tomb Raider, what are you doing?
It does feel like we're due to hear about the next Tomb Raider game, because we know they're working on it.
Yep. But remember, they've been moved over to Embracer since then, so I don't know how much that'll have slowed them down. But yeah, Crystal Adios, they're out there making some kind of AAA games that we haven't seen anything about yet. So yeah, but if you're a Tomb Raider fan, pre-order now. Like I said, it comes out on Valentine's Day, so what a day to celebrate the legacy of Lara Croft.
Or Assassin's Creed, if you prefer.
Or Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. But if you are a fan of Assassin's Creed, maybe you like Jedi Power Battles.
Probably.
Coming to PS5 and PS4 on January the 23rd.
Yeah, it is coming to Xbox and PC and stuff as well, I think. But PlayStation put out...
I'm reading from the PlayStation blog. I've never played this. I'm guessing I think you have, though. Well, just because you own it doesn't mean you've played it. For all your listeners who's holding up the disc.
Yeah, no, I love Jedi Power Battles. It's a tough game. It is. It's a side scroller action game, I guess you'd call it as, where you play as one of the Jedis. And what me and my brother loved about this one is you got to play as Jedis who you didn't ever see in other games. So holding up there. So this is what showed me my love for Jedi Master Plo Koon, who is that guy.
Yeah, because he's got
with the orange alien face. Because he's got an orange lightsaber, and I was like, holy shit! This was how I guess I probably knew about other colours other than the ones you saw in the movies. I was like, they can have orange ones, and even though he got absolutely murked within seconds in the movie, it's a tough gig. And seeing another again, I'm sure Disney must have some kind of deal right now with Star Wars and the gaming world, because we're getting so much. We've had Pod Racer, we're getting all the Bounty Hunter games. I think on Switch there's like a collection out where you get all 6 ones, including like Knights of the Old Republic, and now this. But there's some interesting ones actually that come with it. So in terms of the lightsabers, Mace Windu in the original never had a purple lightsaber; it was blue. For whatever reason.
It's probably because if the game came out before Attack of the Clones, he was probably never shown his lightsaber.
That's a good point, yeah. I'm trying to read through see what else there was.
Yeah, so you can toggle it to the Mace Windu to the purple, but you can also Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon and Adi Gallia can also change their lightsabers.
And cheats also come with it, Richie. So you can have big head mode. You have a massive head, Mace Windu fight a massive head, Darth Maul. Big foot mode. I don't know what that would really look like. And yeah, other stuff as well that's in there. So yeah, it's more... It
does have its classic couch co-op as well.
Nice. So yeah, that's what I did. Me and brother, we just picked our favourite Jedi and just went, and it's pretty much just hack and slash side scroller in the Star Wars world, and it looks a little bit more polished. It still looks janky and old because it is a janky and old game, but if you're after some prequel fun, then it's there.
It is there indeed. But you know what won't be there is Football Manager 25, because it's been delayed till March.
we only covered this on last week's show that
Yeah.
Football Manager was official, and then
immediately it's delayed.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because now you can't help but think like just delay, like just to move on to Football Manager 26 if you're not getting it out until next year now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think because it is a game that realistically only has a 1 year lifespan, unless like some people do play one game and go for like 200 seasons or whatever they play. It does feel like it's a very difficult one when it's tied to football season. I think AFC as well as this, you ideally want these coming out when round about the same week as the first round of fixtures.
Yeah, it's it is an odd one. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's already missed the start of the season, and now it's getting delayed to 2025.
The season will be halfway done.
Yeah, I mean it wraps up in May.
Yeah.
So again, not as that it's as relevant. All I can imagine is they have to get it out because they've got contractual obligations, maybe to the license holders of like FIFA and the clubs.
They've put a lot of work into it, so they're going to have to get some money coming in somehow. So unfortunately, I think in the long history of the franchise, I think there's probably going to be a dip in sales on this on 25. But hopefully, the delay will make a better experience and set them up better for 26.
It does make you wonder what happened in between the announcement for the date and this week for them to go, oh, here's when it's coming out. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Like, what happened in that time frame for them to suddenly decide, actually, it's not ready yet?
It might just be a case of, like, the announcement scheduling was locked in months ago. So that's just went out because someone's job has probably been sat there. Oh, it's this day. I now need to write the announcement post, get it out there, get the marketing machine going, and then in a different meeting a few days later, go, okay, so what's the status of the game? Oh, you've come to this meeting to ask for a delay. Okay, then we'll have to do that, I suppose.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they say in the blog, they say like timelines were already tight as it is, and rightly pointed out by many in your recent comments, we're simply rushing too much and in danger of compromising our usual standards. This has put an enormous amount of pressure on everyone working across the studio, who are all passionately committed to delivering the best game possible. FM25 is the biggest technical and visual enhancement in the series for a generation. We simply cannot compromise on the delivery of this crucial juncture in FM's history to rush towards a release in November. Of course, it's not what you've expected from us, being 7 weeks out from release, but in the spirit of our studio values, we always consider the bigger picture, and the bigger picture here is that we need additional time to deliver a game we can be proud of. Yeah. So again, delaying a game's always great.
Right thing.
I mean, it's interesting where they all say delay is never great, but I think it does tinge a little bit on this one because of the nature of like the sport that they're covering. But
yeah, I think for a game like there's a lot of people like were unhappy with Assassin's Creed getting delayed. I'm just like, delay it as long as you need. I'd rather have a good game than a broken one. Yeah. It's difficult. It must be very difficult to make, and that's relatively easy decision because when that game comes out, it's purely just a marketing exercise more than anything. With a game like Football Manager being tied to a real world sport and the season, it'd be harder to actually make that decision to do it. But so I'm glad they've done it, and they're doing it for the right reasons, giving their team the time they need to make the best quality of product.
Yeah. It does say in here, actually, after following discussions with Sega, our licensors and partners, the best course of action is to delay the launch. Until March 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was January. I'm sure it's in January somewhere. Oh. So the season's 2 months from finishing.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like,
that's mere weeks from wrapping up.
This is what I mean, where I said it's like they're knowingly going to take a hit financially in this one because they're not going to sell the same amount of copies. So they've probably told Sega, told the partners, look, it's going to be down year on the game. The reason it's going to be down year is because we need to delay it, but we want to make sure it's right. So 2026 and 2027 going on, we have the best base to work with because it's not just like, for this one, it doesn't look like they're just putting out the next game. They're doing a lot of behind the scenes additional work, probably upgrading the engine, increasing the graphical fidelity for a spreadsheet simulator.
Yeah, it's an interesting delay. I am curious what the knock-on effect will be with like next year's version now, because unlike EA, who probably have multiple studios in rotation on every version of EA Sports FC, this is just one studio, so we shall see.
I'm not sure if there will be, because they probably won't make any major upgrades to the game.
Yeah, just roster and stuff. True.
Yeah.
Interesting. But in a world where everyone just has EA Sports FC, it's nice to see some competition in the field.
Yeah.
On the field, on the pitch. But
and it's a very different game as well to like EA Sports FC.
Absolutely.
So you know, it is a different game. Silent Hill 2 pre-orders from Game in the UK not going well. They're basically, if you pre-ordered the pre-order bonus of the Steelbook, it's just not getting shipped. Apparently, it'll be shipped separately.
I think we're all at a point where we just need to agree to stop buying things from Game, because like I don't know, like
it's not a game shop anymore. It's a weird
Funko Pop shop.
It's a weird Funko Pop shop in the tiny corner in Sports Direct, which is a sports jumble sale.
I think they do have some standalone shops still, but it's there's lots of news coming out this week that people who've pre-ordered games, Silent Hill and stuff, they're not getting certain parts of the copies of their order, and that goes to Steelbooks. And I've had this personal experience before with BioShock. I ordered the BioShock trilogy years ago with the Steelbook, and again, as it got closer to release, they didn't have it in, and I remember like having to, like, it launched, and they didn't have it, and it was like with pre-order, so like it should be there day one, and then I think I actually went through Twitter to contact them.
I was going to say, there's a few people like reaching out to them on Twitter, saying, even with cancellations, that people have tried to cancel it, and they're doing the whole thing going, just ignoring it and going, it's been dispatched.
Yeah,
I had the company actually tell me, because I ordered something, and like 2 weeks went by and it hadn't been dispatched, and then I just bought the same thing from Amazon, because at that point I'd now got Amazon Prime, because I was buying a few other bits, so it was worth lumping it in, so because I didn't want to pay $5 for the delivery for some air canisters to clean my PC. So I went to reach out and went cancel them, and gone, because it came from a third party vendor, you're going to have to just refuse the delivery when the delivery turns up, and we'll refund you when we've got confirmation that's on its way back. It's like, no, fuck that. I'm not sitting in all day to tell a delivery driver to fuck off. No, it's like, you process the refund,
quite
and you
rude
deal
to
with
the delivery driver. Poor delivery guy.
It's like,
he opens the door and you just go, fuck off.
It's like, don't want it.
Wow.
They're like, no, that's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to ask your customer to do. It's like, no, you process the refund and you contact the delivery company. I ain't doing your work for you.
It's madness. I had that with Amazon though as well, where I had to tell the driver like I don't want it, and so he drove all the way to my house, got out of the van, came to the door, and I was like, sorry, I don't want to cancel it. Just for him to tap on his screen, cancel, and then I get the message straight away through the app saying order cancelled. Your refund will be issued within 2 to 5 days. I was like, why could customer services not just do that before the poor guy had to get it in a van and come out to me? This
is my point. They were saying it's been dispatched. I was like, I haven't received a dispatch email. So as far as I'm concerned, it isn't being dispatched.
Yeah.
And also, it wouldn't have been dispatched when I sent my initial email. So why don't you pick up the phone, if it's been dispatched, ring the delivery company and go, that order's cancelled. Yeah. Surely you've got a process how to do that. Like, pick up a phone. But, it's like one of them where it's just like a company trying to hide behind another company to, like, because they said it was a third-party vendor, but it's like, yeah, but you took my money, not them.
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like, you do it.
Yeah,
I feel sorry for the people who work in customer services sometimes, because it's not their fault, but their company's policies are shit.
It's just, they've explained that it's something to do with the move over to the Fraser Group system. So for those who don't know, it's Mike Ashley's Fraser Group, who's the millionaire guy who me and Richie don't like because we're Newcastle United fans. And he's acquired it, and he's trying to get them over to the same pre-ordering system that they use in all of their shops. So again, I guess they're just trying to like unify the back end behind the scenes stuff. But apparently, customer who had orders when they've moved to the new system after a certain cut-off point on the date, their order just isn't showing on the new system, so it's like it doesn't exist. That's why you're saying they've took the money from people, but when people are complaining, they can't find the order's existence to either refund or... So it's like the money just doesn't exist. It's like, it sounds like a proper tax fiddle, which... Yeah. Read into that what you will.
And then this one, it probably is a genuine technical issue.
Yeah.
Rather than...
But it's not good enough though. Like
no,
you
it's not like
there's nothing more disappointing than not getting your whatever it is in whatever industry, like ordering something and you've got a date locked in, and you don't get it that day. It's like, but I did everything in my power because I wanted it day one. Like I wanted to see it.
That's the thing though. When the point of a pre-order is so you can get it day and date. Everything else is a bonus, not the point.
Yeah.
So you pre-ordered it, and so that's why you've paid up front to get it. Because if you didn't care about day and date, you just buy it whenever you wanted it.
Yeah.
So
and
people not get. I know it's the steelbook. I know it's basically a case, but there's still the thing that someone's ordered. Like,
yeah. And I don't understand how in this world the game's shipped out, but the steelbook isn't with it. It's like, how are they not just together? Like,
I don't know. I mean, when I've got
baffling.
steelbooks before, it's been like, usually get the normal game in its normal package, and then also a steelbook. But the are usually shipped together.
Yeah, it's baffling. But hopefully it'll get remedied. But I think it's safe to say I for whatever reason, I'm never going to get anything from Game.
I think Game's dead, to be honest. I think it will be dead soon, unfortunately. Maybe it will become just an online retailer, and that's it.
Yeah. Remember when we had like Game Station, Game...
Yeah. Electronics Boutique. That became Game, didn't it?
You could go in Woolworths to have a look. All these other great shops have just died on our high streets.
Yeah. Well, even supermarkets are pulling games from their shelves nowadays just because they're just... People don't buy them, I suppose.
Yeah, our local Tesco's doesn't even have an area for it now. They just got little voucher receipts on a wall.
Yeah,
it's like, there's no fun in that.
Yeah,
but tell you where there is fun, Richie.
Black Ops 6.
Potentially.
It depends if you can install it. It's because it's 137 gigabytes on Xbox.
The size.
Yeah, that's a chunky boy.
This is a. I'm curious to see what with this being the first Call of Duty to launch. Now Microsoft own them. Yeah. I'd say that you're playing this on cloud could be a good option, but I'm curious to know. Is it Ubisoft are in charge of all the Call of Duty cloud releases now, right?
For some reason, yeah.
Because of the deal they're broken. It's like, can Ubisoft pull a finger out quick enough to approve this to go on cloud day one? Or do we have to install it?
If it's just a thumbs up from Ubisoft, you go, we'll take 5% or something of cloud sales. I'm sure the Ubisoft will go, go and do it. We'll take the money for doing nothing.
What's the storage on our Series S's?
I think it's 500.
Ooh.
I think the newer ones are a terabyte, aren't they?
Yeah.
So this is the thing why I actually think even the PlayStation 5, the standard's about 500. 1 terabyte should be the minimum nowadays, unless you're Nintendo and somehow you can get away with like 64 bits or something, 20 whatever.
Megabytes, yeah,
20 megabytes.
Should point out this is the box art has leaked for Black Ops. And it says minimum requirement of 137 gig. So that day one patch is going to be a big boy.
Yeah.
I reckon 150 upwards easily.
Oh, yeah, I think this is definitely going to balloon size.
What was Warzone's? Wasn't Warzone's like close to 500?
Something
sure
like
that was a thing. System requirements. I can't find it. 300 gig approximate size. 281 on Xbox for Warzone.
Yeah, so... and the thing is, I don't feel I could recommend people buy the official like storage expansions that they offer, because I think they're way overpriced compared to...
The little plug-in ones.
Yeah. Compared to what you could actually just buy an external hard drive. That just...
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're interested in Black Ops, you're going to have to clear up your hard drive a bit.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to, because we're probably going to play it on the channel. And I looked at the timing of this. Yeah, the launch date means that we could probably get a live stream in launch week, because it's close to Halloween. We could do the zombies mode.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It's open world co-op zombies mode in a brand new title, and a game that I'm going to check out for the first time in many years because it's free on Game Pass. So.
See, this is why if people want to play that with us, you need to subscribe to the channel.
And delete everything from your console.
Yeah, delete everything from console. Hopefully they'll come out the cloud as well.
Yeah.
Most Xbox stuff does, but with it being Activision, there is that question mark. But actually, cloud gaming for every Xbox, Chris?
Yeah.
Will Xbox... what's going on with Xbox and cloud gaming? Because it feels like we haven't had much news in a while.
It's been a bit quiet. The long rumored expansion of cloud gaming for Xbox players means any game they own, rather than just being a Game Pass title, can be streamed. So we've expected this for a long time. I think Phil Spencer did say it's coming this year, like right back in January, when they did the what was it called? I can't remember what the developer direct or whatever they call it, _direct, I think it is. It said during the interviews then that they are still working on it. So yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. So Sarah Bonds actually tweeted, the court's ruling to open up Google's mobile store in the US will allow more choice and flexibility. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices. So we are thrilled to share that starting in November, players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly. And
that's in relation to another story, isn't it? That's with their lawsuit with Google's storefront.
Directly from the Xbox Android app, yeah. Yeah, that is...
We're talking about cloud gaming on games you bought.
Yes, I have got the wrong article up.
I was going to say, I don't know why you're pulling that. I mean, the quote also lines up with it. But saying that, it's about time that, like, similar to like when we had Stadia, obviously, every game you had was streamable because it had to. But then that's the annoying thing with sometimes cloud gaming on Xbox. It's like, actually, if you don't have Game Pass, you can't do streaming at all. Whereas now it's like, no, if you've actually bought a game and you own the game, you can stream it as well. Across any device, which is great if you don't have the disc, for example.
You might still need Game Pass to access the streaming features, but it's a game that you've got.
If it's not in the Game Pass library,
that's the thing. Cloud gaming was restricted to the Game Pass library. Now this will allow it for the entire Xbox library, theoretically.
Yeah,
I would assume you still need Game Pass Ultimate to do it.
Most likely. But yeah, it just means if you have like RoboCop Rogue City and it's not on Game Pass, but you bought it on your Xbox, that now you can stream it as well if you want. And the reason I referenced that one, I mean, because I totally forgot I bought that this week in the Amazon Prime Day deal. So
this is a sort of thing where it makes actually the Fire Stick a more enticing option, because they do need the full storefront on there, and they do need to actually have the share button work.
Yep.
But they're relatively minor gripes. But I think the Fire Stick is awesome. It works so well.
So yeah, I think good news all around. More Xbox games in the cloud. They're now able to sell them on storefronts that aren't monopolised. So yeah, good day for Xbox.
Yeah. While we're still on Xbox, Chris, do you want an Xbox Series X in Indiana Jones?
I would take one.
Well, I'm not selling you one. I don't have one to sell, but new Xbox, Indiana Jones decals on it. What are your thoughts?
It looks good. It doesn't look like my favourite one.
I don't like it.
The problem with this is it's not necessarily the look of it. It's getting your hands on it. It's only going to be in a competition sweepstakes that takes place at physical Microsoft Experience stores in set locations. So if you don't live in New York, London, or Sydney, Australia,
you're screwed.
There's no chance. You could be the biggest Indiana Jones and Xbox fan on the planet, and unless you've got a one-way ticket to one of these places for those particular days, and then need to win the prize raffle, that's some mighty fine odds that you need to do.
I don't like the look of the console. The controller, however,
with the little diamond buttons, like little gems.
Yeah, and it's got a weird, like, dark leather kind of aesthetic with like a gold back. It's like a very orangey gold.
Is the leather his whip or his jacket, do you think?
I want to say jacket.
Yeah. But
I think it's a cool looking controller.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking the console sits, for those who don't know visuals, it's like a relic, like, platform that I think the Series X sits inside the relic. That, perhaps, maybe? I'm not sure you want to keep it inside the relic itself, because for like cooling reasons, but it looks cool. Yeah, it's. I mean, the console itself is just a gold block, like presumably styled on the idol from the first movie. Yeah, it's random. It's Xbox love to make a very bespoke unique tie-in game done. Console, sorry. Crazy.
Indeed. But I think that's all we have time for the news. Shall we talk about this week in video game history, Chris?
Let's do it.
October the 12th. What's jumping out to you?
Not much. Slim pickings. Like I said, September was such a banger, and everything since then has been disappointing. Nothing really. Pokemon X and Y on the 3DS 11 years ago today.
Love them games, actually. There was some it's not a popular common take, but I think Pokemon X and Y are one of my favourite games in the franchise.
Wow. Never played them. Skipping a day ahead to October 13th, we got Dead Space 16 years ago, back in 2008 on PS3 and Xbox 360. We also got Brutal Legend featuring Jack Black 15 years ago. Too. And for you and me, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves dropped on the PlayStation 3 15 years ago. Uncharted 2.
Oh, wow.
Which is mad.
Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
Really good game.
10 years ago. Assassin's Creed Syndicate 9 years ago, which was the famed one that took place in London, and that unfortunately got kind of like caught up in the whole, there's too many Assassin's Creeds, and it essentially made them reboot the franchise. But it's actually a great game. It's one of the best Assassin's Creed games, ironically, but its sales were lessened because of the fatigue and the Ubisoft problem that they've still got to this day.
Actually, October the 13th is a pretty good day because there's even
it is,
Resident Evil 7.
It is, yeah. Oh, yeah, Biohazard.
Goosebumps, the game, 9 years ago.
Yeah, it's a solid day, October 13th. Not unlike October 12th. Lame. But yeah,
Indeed.
I like it.
Me too. And what I also like is this podcast, but it's over now. So thank you very much for listening. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to keep the all fantastic content here. I don't know, maybe we've got a sale on at the store, so it's running up to Christmas. Maybe buy your loved one I don't know, a thing. What have we got? Yeah, a mug. The mugs are good. I like them.
A flask for the hot beverage to take into work.
Indeed, yeah. Do we still have the dog bandanas?
Yeah, they're so popular.
I want to see photos of people's good boys wearing one.
Good boys.
But with that, my name's been Richie.
I've been Robert Chris.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.